What up, everyone? Welcome back to Channel Couch Call. We got Grim, we got Shapes,
Hey.
and we're back with some more analysis of the Marvel Cinematic Universe via Disney Plus. Today, we are talking about Moon Knight. So this series just recently started about 2 weeks ago for us.
Yeah.
We've been kind of passively watching it, in anticipation for this and Multiverse of Madness and seeing what will happen there. This
is not really a part of anything, though.
yet. We don't know. There's 4 other episodes.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But for all those who don't know too much about Moon Knight, you probably clicked it for a reason. Moon Knight was created in 1975 in August by Doug Moench and Don Perlin. They were featured in Werewolf by Night number 32. And basically, this is their interpretation in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. He kind of gets, a lot of people give him shit for being the Batman
Yes.
of Marvel, which,
Because originally it was Mark Spector, who was kind of a mercenary playboy type of person with money and had all these gadgets, essentially.
Yeah, and which, I read probably the comics when one of the many reboots that Marvel did back in the day, but it was shortly after New 52 came out.
Yeah.
They rebooted it, and that was when they rebooted Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Did the soft reboot, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I read that for a short while, and it was good.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was literally reading I think I was reading every Batman-based, Batman,
Batman,
Robin,
Detective Comics.
fucking everything, dude. Batgirl for sure, Batgirl. Gail Simone's son, best. Anyway, so until they frickin' changed her into teenage girl again, remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. So we. It was always kind of something that was interesting to me. I've always liked Egyptian history and
I
culture,
loved it in 6th grade specifically.
or ancient Egyptian culture. We studied it. We went to the same high school or school in general.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I this Khonshu was cool. I like that aspect of it. That he was basically an avatar for semi-demonic presence almost.
Right.
Kind of like Knight Rider, or Ghost Rider. Knight Rider. Terrible show.
Hasselhoff.
Not good. I remember watching it as a kid and always being so stoked for it, and then just the car killed it for me as a kid.
Yeah.
I was more. It's probably kind of frowned upon now, but I was more of a Dukes of Hazzard fan. Yes. So
just the Daisy Dukes.
Yes. Well, yes. You grew up in the South. I'll be full disclosure, and of course, at the time, being an ignorant little boy, Confederate flag was cool.
Yeah.
It was rebels, it wasn't anything to do with race. It was just it was the South.
Yeah.
Anyway, so generally it was a cool car to me. But yeah, so Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Moon Knight, always kind of was elusive. What about you?
I knew of Moon Knight. My father occasionally dabbled in about a couple comics here and there in the
Really?
90s of Moon Knight.
No shit.
It was never honestly, for what it's worth, my assumption is my father at the time in the late 80s, early 90s.
So your dad must have read a lot of comics. Really?
He was a speculation buyer. He would buy all the covers that were shiny, essentially.
Okay.
And then if there were some things he tried to read, if he had time for. But I just know that there's a lot of lenticular type of covers, the old ones with the card on the front.
Yeah.
So he liked a lot of that. But I know that he genuinely really liked Superman. He liked X-Men, and he liked Spider-Man.
Okay.
In regards to anything I knew of Moon Knight. I didn't know about the comparatives to Batman just because I didn't care too much. You know, Moon Knight looked cool on the card, but he didn't know what it was.
Honestly, I don't really see the similarities myself. It's different enough.
As a young child, I thought Moon Knight was just a white Daredevil. On how the suits and all things were kind of aligned with a cloak and cowl. That was how I saw it. But I did like Moon Knight just because I liked the Crescent Moon, but I didn't like it enough to research it and know too much
like
about
what
it.
it was, about.
But I mean, in regards to...
quite frankly, I didn't know he existed until at least 2012.
Bro, I mean, I've known... but mind you, when we had those Marvel sets, I've known him since the late 80s. And I was alive then, and I wasn't very conscious and cognitive stuff, but I was alive in the late 80s.
We were.
Yes. But, you know, so like you said, we've seen 2 episodes. You know, it's pretty much how Marvel conveys it as a split personality person, a duality at the moment as between Mark Spector and
Steve Grant.
Stephen Grant, yes. Stephen Grant, who is a museum gift shop worker, and then Mark is a not bounty hunter, a mercenary. Sorry.
The thing I don't understand is like, you know, I don't really care to read into Moon Knight, honestly, and like I know, like if you got here's a pro tip, guys, if you didn't read it on IGN. There's a QR code that's shown in the episode. If you actually do that, you could read the first appearance of Moon Knight for free on Marvel Unlimited.
Yeah.
So you know, go get that.
Yeah.
And but so I have that. I haven't read it. Quite frankly, I'm sure it does nothing for his tale. But
yeah.
You know, it's just like a cool little cool. You know. But I wonder like. If I deep dove into it a little bit more, I remember reading, I think I probably read like the first 10 issues of what maybe it was a Marvel Now? Was that what it was?
Yeah.
Some shit. Anyway, literally every year almost, it feels like. But it was like, because they rebooted it then, and then the DC did Rebirth when I was in California. Yep. And then
they soft rebooted Marvel again after that, didn't they?
Yes, shortly right after that. Yes. Yeah. Anyway, so I don't know. Yeah. It just wasn't of no interest to me, and it kind of still is at this junction. The show never really kind of gave me the gusto to really get into it again.
So what I'm seeing now is this. So they're basically trying to make the universe larger. They're trying to make different characters, different sectors, and almost to a point that you don't need to watch everything, I feel, at this point, in terms of Moon Knight, this particular series. But they just saw how an obscure group of people or character has caught fire and caught lightning in a bottle, like Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, mind you, the acting in Guardians of the Galaxy is spectacular, and then they developed it very well, and we're only two episodes in. And in our opinion, episode 1 was okay at best. Fine, I will say it was okay. You can say otherwise.
I think it was it was unwatchable because Stephen Grant to me is an annoying character.
But I have to give credit to Oscar Isaac.
Sure, fine, but
he conveys that, and now with Mark Spector,
sure,
he's a really good actor. Along with Ethan Hawke, who has done very well in his role as well.
See, the comics that I read, from what I remember, Stephen Grant was not. I don't even think he was in them at the time. It was mostly all about Mark Spector.
To my understanding, there's at least 3 personalities.
Yeah,
and they don't draw. Mark is clearly the number 1.
Yeah,
and Steven is in there, but there's this other one that kind of happens. The one where he's actually in a suit is, I think, a different entity as well. When he was in that,
no, but wasn't that Stephen Grant?
In the show, it was, but I think in the comic, it's a different. Totally... It's a third entity within that body.
Oh,
yes. So, but basically, the first episode, it's weird because they're trying to convey a half like scary, half kind of unknown type of thing. But also, the visuals are very interesting. Also,
Yeah.
where
Khonshu's design's amazing.
the how the camera is shot, where it's showing it's like a duality of how a vision is, or how the people are in the show.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, just the camera angles of, you think one side's right side up, and then the visual misdirections where, Steven's walking, but Mark is just standing still, and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
So shot very well. Story lacked in the first episode. I think the acting was good in it, but it left.
Just because the acting is good doesn't mean it can't be annoying, though.
No.
Like, that's, like, I get it. Like, I love Oscar Isaac. Like, no discredit towards him. Like, I think he's really great at what he does, but it's like, to me, the character's just too unlikable. Right. And I'm sure he's not in, in the second episode, it changes, obviously. I think he kind of comes into his own a little bit and comes to grips with it. But, like, yeah, the first episode to me was just fucking awful. Like, it wasn't awful. It was just like, I was just like, oh, God. Like, I was like, Stephen Grant will kill this show.
Right.
And if he does not change it, like, majorly, like he whines and he has a sissy English accent and stuff like that, and it's like, and I'm like, oh my God, Becky, like, please God, change the channel, right. Oh man, but anyway.
Well, I mean, at least he's properly portraying how much of a wimp and a wuss he is. Now, is it annoying? Yes, I can understand where you're coming from. Now, is it to the point of you're so drawn in by his acting that you're just full hook, line, and sinker? No. I mean, there are parallels and there's different types of acting where someone can be so annoying and so believable that you're just like, wow, even if it's not, Steven, you're just instantly irritated when you see Oscar Isaac's face. But, like I said, for the second episode, it kind of flushes out a little bit more. Now, is he still whiny? Totally. He's kind of a putz still in that episode. But as we said, like, pretty much the first episode is trying to create backstory and character development, where basically, like I said, Steven's a museum guy, Mark is the alternate body, and shit keeps happening and he can't explain it. Like, stuff's missing, he has a sleep complex that he tries to stay awake all the time. He sounds like the biggest loser ever working in this museum.
Yeah, gift shop.
And his boss doesn't give him respect, the security guard doesn't give him respect, and then there's this weird entity by Ethan Hawke who basically is judging people with this weird crocodile cane.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's crocodile, is it?
It's technically, the Nile had the crocodile, so it would be, if it's Egyptian, it would be crocodile. There's two heads of crocodile on that one cane.
Is that what that is?
Yep, and it swings back and forth. And then there's two crocodiles on the balance on the tattoo.
No shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's supposed to signify that one particular Egyptian god, something. I don't know. You can throw it up there. And what technically the story is in Egyptian.
Yeah, it's like no. What the fuck was it? It's like it's super powerful being.
Well, it's technically Anubis is the one who judges you, and the scale is between your heart and a feather. And if your heart is lighter than the feather, it means that you're a pure soul and you get to cross to the next realm.
Yeah.
If your heart is heavier than the feather, you have a lot of guilt, a lot of baggage, you did something wrong, and then he feeds you to this half crocodile hippopotamus animal, which this person is that I can't remember.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a lot of Egyptian lore that's kind of crisscrossed, because even some of the things that Stephen Grant says, like in the bowels of the museum, where he's like, oh, there's only 7 Egyptian gods here, there should be 9. There is some truth to the fact, but there's a lot of misrepresentation or incorrect facts in comparison to what our world is. And I know that this is a fictional world, but there's some differences there.
I mean, like we said, apparently it doesn't take in the cinematic universe really
yet.
Yeah, sure, fine, yeah. But
there are cues because of the Global Repositioning Act or whatever. The group that helps you find homes after you've been displaced after the blip, that has shown up in advertisements all over the city.
It has?
Yeah.
Oh, in Moon Knight?
Yeah.
What? I thought people were saying like they didn't see shit because they didn't talk about the blip and anything else like that.
No, there's adverts or advertisements, like advertisements
Yeah.
in the background about this global whatever.
Yeah, the peace, like the corporation that fucking whatever the flag smashers were trying to take down.
Yeah, essentially. So it is involved. It's just we don't know how much it will be involved. And as of 2 episodes in, so you're thinking a third of the series already, there doesn't seem like a whole bunch of cross connect. But you did notice some things in episode 2. So I don't know. I feel weird without kind of telling what's going on, but you probably already watched it. But essentially, like the first episode ends with him actually revealing himself to be Moon Knight. Ethan Hawke's character is trying to chase him.
Not shocking.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke's character is trying to chase him because he has this scarab artifact that he wants. Same thing happens in episode 2, but Mark Spector's character is trying to take over, and more of the onion is being unraveled in episode 2.
Yeah.
With that said, Ethan Hawke is basically in this cult that basically respects this particular deity or Egyptian god, and you basically chase around the city trying to figure out what's going on in England.
Yeah.
This scarab is super powerful. It's supposed to show you where the secret place is for more Egyptian.
No. It's specifically for the deity that they want to follow, the hippopotamus alligator thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that is.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say.
Because that shows you because they want to release it, right? Isn't that what it is?
Something like that.
I believe it's what it is.
Because the staff only has a minute amount of the power that
being and
has.
controls. Yeah.
But the thing I was gonna say is it's interesting because when the staff is used, it glows purple, which is a sign of dark magic because like Agatha Harkness and other superpower things that are purple is usually bad or bad witchcraft or bad, like I don't know, I don't want to use the word voodoo, but like stuff.
I mean,
like
it could be voodoo.
Yeah.
Voodoo's magic.
Yeah. So I think they're trying to make a clear distinction. Oh, like the realm being destroyed by Doctor Strange, purple. Like when the world was opening up and the villains were coming through. So that could be the intersect.
I guess.
The purple
but,
magic.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess.
So, but I mean, like we said, like for me personally, episode 1 lacked in comparison to all the other Marvel Plus series. It's
so far. I mean, it's been kind of it's been a little rough. I mean, I think a lot of it is because Steven to me is just not a likable character.
Yeah.
And like there's literally nothing lovable about him to me.
No.
And but in the second episode he started to shine a little bit with like how much knowledge he had about ancient Egypt.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And so like Khonshu has been kind of cool here and there. Like I guess they kind of are nailing the comics, or the least ones that I read.
No.
So on that level, but in the comics, it was most of the time it was Mark Spector.
Sure.
And I can't even remember the villains now. That's like how much I cared little of it.
So,
I don't know. I just never really found it interesting. I suppose.
I think my comment earlier is indicative of what we think of the series. This comes in episode 1 at a modest 6, whereas everything else for Disney Plus
5 for me easily. At most, I'd say.
But everything else has started at least a baseline 7.
Oh, easy. Yes.
2 is better. I would say it's a 6.5 at best. Starting for episode 2. But the thing is it's falling on certain levels, and it's nothing to do with Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, or whatever. It's just the story isn't as engaging as like Hawkeye. That was really, really fun. It was wall-to-wall action. There's comedy, and I enjoyed it on so many different levels. My favorite is Loki because of the character development.
Yeah.
Because you're building a character that you don't like, there's not much buy-in for you, especially when it's Steven. Now, if Mark becomes a more pivotal role, and it takes off. I mean, and our early analysis on a lot of different series isn't our only opinion of things. Things evolve and grow, so this could very well end up better. I can't say if
I
it's
don't. Well, hold on. Let me say some things
sure.
on that too. Yes, I agree it could get better, but at this point though, like to me, there's like I hate to say it, and I don't think it's Oscar Isaac's fault. Oscar Isaac's fault, but I just don't think his character overall is interesting. And it's right at this moment for me. Everybody else is carrying the show,
Right.
and like Ethan Hawke, who's in my opinion always been a pretty damn good actor, like killing it. And
Do you think
it's
Oscar
the
Isaac?
wife that was introduced in the second
Yeah.
episode, pretty interesting in my opinion. She kicks ass at fighting.
Do you think Oscar Isaac as Mark Spector is killing it?
No,
Okay.
I think he's a snore of a person.
For Mark Spector.
Yes,
Okay.
he's because Stephen Grant is just a pussy, and then Mark Spector is just an arrogant ass who just kind of is like isn't quippy or doesn't even have a jokey dryness or not that he needs that. He's just a gruff person.
I think for him, at least the development I'm seeing, is he's so centered on protecting his wife, which at this point, off of what we've seen, she doesn't need a whole lot of protecting. But I think that he's so concerned that is why.
He's just protecting her from Khonshu, is what it is. It seems like.
Yes, but also when you have something that you value that much, you're going to try to do anything and everything to protect them. And part of it is not divulging too much to Steven, who will blurt anything and give everything away, right? But am I saying it redeems his whole character? No, but I'm saying that for me, I feel that Oscar Isaac is doing an effective job conveying a very wimpy and passive gentleman.
Sure, I never said he wasn't doing his job. I'm just saying the characters are bad.
Sure.
Like you could be given, whatever. I'm trying to think of a children's book besides Magic School Bus right now.
Berenstein Bears,
No. I was thinking of what's the caterpillar one?
the very hungry caterpillar.
Yes.
Okay.
So think of something like that, but like you could have the best actor in the world doing the Hungry Caterpillar, but it's the Hungry Caterpillar.
Right.
You know what I mean? What's he gonna do? And so my point is, like, you can give a great actor the worst script in the world, and it'll still be the worst script.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
So you're saying it's going to be M. Night Shyamalan's Avatar?
oh. No, I don't think it's going to be that bad. But so, I now do I think it could get better? Sure, fine. Now I think Oscar Isaacs has the most he's been able to work with at the moment, in my opinion, obviously, has been only Stephen Grant.
Yeah.
Now Mark Spector is essentially taken over now. It seems.
Yeah.
Because he's made, was it Khonshu that made the comment that basically, you've locked him away now for the foreseeable future?
Yeah.
And I was like, because when I read the comics, Mark Spector was the one that was mostly in control.
Yeah.
And the other ones were just kind of there. And because I think you're right. Now I remember the suited guy with the ninja mask style was his own character.
I think it's interesting because for this series, this is the first time they've tried to create a mild suspense thriller aspect of it because of Khonshu chasing you, the unknown, the weird jackal chasing you in episode 1. This mysterious cult chasing you.
I guess.
It's not like a straight up like Scream or something like that, but
no.
It's the most that Marvel has done to create suspense and thrills.
There's a movie that there's been a lot of cult movies actually, like evil cult movies that have been released. Midsummer's one, good one. You should watch it. Actually, it's not really scary, frightening. It's just disturbing.
Yeah.
It's literally the movie, because it takes place in midsummer where literally the days never end.
Yeah.
So it takes place during sunlight the entire fucking time.
Okay.
But anyway, so like I said, it's not scary. It's just disturbing.
Sure.
But it's actually it's a story about bad relationships. Yes. Yes, it's very good. Michael Flanagan. Anyway, probably one of the best horror movie guys in my opinion. But yeah, anyway, the show, I feel like it's trying to wrestle like the Fight Club style, like, you know, multiple personality, you know, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand's doing BS.
Sure.
And which is fine. Don't get me wrong, it's fine. But you know, at least Edward Norton's character wanted to be a badass, you know, whereas Stephen Grant is just a pussy overall.
So you want the duality of consciousness to have grit.
No, like just a little bit of a fraction of grit, I guess. Like you know what I mean? What is it?
Molecule?
No.
Quart?
No. I'm trying to think of the word. Anyway, it starts with an M. But anyway, anyway, so now that word is going to bother me the rest of the day, and it's going to come up to me. No, I won't even think of it then, probably. Modicum. Yes. So I got it. Moving on. But yeah, like I just kind of I feel like he's just too much of a pansy. He's always like, you know, Mr. Origami folding under pressure.
Sure.
Wishing things went a little bit faster in that regard. And then also in the first episode, they literally like cut out all of the meat and potatoes of the show and just only showed Stephen Grant, you know,
phasing in and out of
consciousness. Exactly. And I know what they were going for,
sure.
But at the same time, like, don't get me wrong, like the final scene wasn't enough for me because it was just a giant CGI fest.
Sure.
And I was just kind of like,
I think the liberties, I found them entertaining in the chase scene in episode 1. Were they the best thing ever? No, but I did find them entertaining. But also, when it comes to being critical of things, I'm going to be way less harsh in generalities than you, not because of just the topic matter, but just in general, you know, even if it's a shitty like Mario game, I still think it's okay. In terms of this series, do I think it's shitty? No. I think it's coming out a little slow out the gate. It's becoming entertaining, and there's still 4 episodes to tell us if this is going to hit my top 3, which it's not looking good, in my opinion.
No. Yeah. Not even close, man. Honestly, I think this is going to be, at this rate, this will be the worst Marvel show in my opinion.
Yep.
You know, which is disappointing because I fucking love Oscar Isaac. I love Ethan Hawke. You know, but I don't like the costume.
I don't mind it.
To me, it's just one gigantic CGI fest.
Yeah, but
it's to me, I just look at it and I'm like, fucking A, really?
To create the illusion of Moon Knight in the way that they want to, because Moon Knight is traditionally a white suit. In this particular iteration, they're making him bandages like a mummy to draw upon the Egyptian, not lore, but what is it called?
Yeah, well, the history.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think. In the comics,
it's a suit, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, and that's the thing. They're taking their original subject matter and trying to tweak it, but the risks aren't outweighing the reward, or the reward isn't outweighing the risk at the moment. It is falling just shy. Is it interesting? Does it look cool? Yes, but is it functional? It doesn't really scream like, oh my god? Not at the moment.
No. I honestly, like, at this moment, like, the cult's the most interesting part to this whole thing to me, just because of how they basically got their fingers in every pie, kind of, it seems. So I'm interested in more in the cult than anything.
Sure.
I know it's kind of sad. I actually want fucking Ikenaga to take Khonshu.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, oh my god, like Stephen Grant, like.
So here's the question. So let's say episode 3 flashes in, not the whole episode is through Mark Spector's eyes, but they give you the flashes of what he does and the flashes out from episode 1. Would that allow you to like those scenes and this series a little bit more if you see all these perspectives prior to Stephen Grant's predominant ownership of the body?
So you're saying if or at some point in this season, essentially, they flash back to what the blackout portions were of episode 1, would I be satisfied?
Not satisfied. Would you like the arc or the phasing in and out part more?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I think it's a cheap trick, but also, in my opinion, like, I get it why they were doing it in the first episode, and I'm fine with it, but I think how they landed the finishing move, if you will, was just a complete dud.
Finishing move is in the last scene in episode 1 of the wood.
When he fought the jackal and killed it.
Yeah.
When he's like, finally submit, let me take over, and, that happened.
The interesting thing also is now that episode 2 is done, the jackal cannot be perceived by anyone other than Mark Spector, or other than Moon Knight, which is weird.
Yeah, and so here's the other thing. I'm kind of predicting that Mark Spector and Khonshu are conjuring these things up, and because I find it strange that only he can see them, and then when the footage was shown on the security cameras, like, nothing really happened. It was just him running around. And now remember, Khonshu clearly can interfere with the physical world, because they showed that. And so my hypothesis is that actually was all in Mark. Well, yes, Mark and Steven's head, because Mark was manipulating Steven, or Khonshu and Mark were manipulating Steven so they could finally take the body over again.
But though in season 2, the wife or ex-wife or whoever is actually physically moved by the jackal.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you can see from our relative opinions, it's.
But yeah, was it?
Oh.
Could it have been?
Could it be something else? Could be, but in perspective of how it was shot, it was the jackal or the monster
that grabbed her,
or moved her, or hit her. So I mean, the thing is like we can clearly say that this show is an enigma at this point. I mean, clearly, if Shaf had to rate this, it's sitting at a 4 or a 5 right now overall.
Episode 2 elevated it. For me, the first episode was probably a solid 4.
Yeah.
Definitely no higher.
Yeah.
And then, but episode 2 was probably a 5 or 6.
Yep.
And so it evened it out to a 5.
So my Ep1 is 5, Ep2 is 6.
Okay.
Because baseline for anything else is 7, which is still falling short.
Yeah.
In terms of anything, like, there's still 4 episodes. There is still a lot of story to tell. The interesting thing about this series is all of them are an hour long, not to say that anything else wasn't an hour long, but it's intriguing, right? To see how this is going to go. Because my assumption is every movie that has a relative Marvel plus series running it, they don't intersect necessarily, but they try to make sure that the cliffhanger falls into the date in which the movie comes out. So it leaves off with excitement into a movie.
Yeah.
Also, the speculation to what I've heard on the internet is they haven't released a Thor Love and Thunder trailer specifically because there's some sort of spoiler in the Multiverse of Madness that will lead into a trailer into Thor Love and Thunder. The early speculation is there is a mutant in Thor Love and Thunder.
Oh.
Speculation. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
But
what the fuck could it be?
We'll get that. We'll get that in our Multiverse of Madness movie review. Spoil that out a little bit.
Self promotion. But yeah, I mean, I wonder.
I think honestly, like this series has a lot to keep working on. We are not impressed in terms of our normal standards. Is it hot garbage? No.
No.
We've seen lots of hot garbage before.
Am I being tough on it? Yes, but here's the thing. To me, mediocre.
We're paying $14 a month.
Well, no. To me, mediocre is not 7. Mediocre is a 5.
Right.
Below a 5, you're failing.
Right.
Above a 5, okay, you're doing better than average. And so,
if this guy was Asian, I'm certain.
yeah. And so, like, no, I'm German. They're still hard. But yeah. So, like, you know, we basically, what I feel that they could go is it salvageable?
Yes, it's always salvageable. Will it be? Probably not to our expectations. To what we were left off with WandaVision, left off with Loki, and left off with Hawkeye, and Hawkeye wrapped up.
Don't get me wrong. Like, the thing is like, I'm not going to judge a show based on just its ending. Sure. Like, you know, and what is it? Like, I do kind of want to go back and rewatch. Was it Falcon Winter Soldier? I was going to do it in reverse.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I've been seeing online are saying it's like a hot
garbage,
hot mess.
Yeah.
And I was like,
it is a hot mess because of the reshoots that they had to go through. Because to my understanding, the original premises is the Flag Smashers were stealing vaccines because there was a global pandemic, and because COVID was a thing, they had to change the script hardcore because they thought it was too on the nose.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
So that was the original thing because
was that complete coincidence though?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
that's
like,
funny.
So like the girl with the frizzy hair, and where she basically sees
the redhead.
Sees her mom die, or that figure that die. She had the virus, and that's why she died. You know, so there's, to my understanding, even when I was watching it, and to this reason now, the reason why I rate Falcon and the Winter Soldier as my least favorite is not because I think that the buddy cop type of thing is played out. No, they did a really good job. The story was messy. And the story, as of right now, for Moon Knight is also messy. Falcon and the Winter Soldier is leading because I finished the series and some of the cliffhangers were very entertaining. Now, is it going to be on the same par, same level? Very well could be, but there's a lot of ground to make up right now for Moon Knight.
I mean, the sad thing is, and I never thought I'd say this is the first Marvel series where I've liked the villain more.
I can agree that Ethan Hawke does a very good job at it. I don't hate Oscar Isaac in his role. I think actually his jumping from
personalities,
is not horrible.
No,
I mean, like I'm saying, I'm not trying to say he's a bad actor.
No,
I think his acting is great. You like Steven, like you said, you think it's so painful that you'd rather just have him off screen. I think he's annoying, but it's passable for me. You know what I mean? It's serviceable.
The only, I mean, he has glints of hope once in a while. Like the part where he like touches that one girl for the first time, his wife, Steve, or I guess Mark's wife in real life. Yeah. You know, that moment, and then when he's like basically enthralled with how interesting she is, you know, basically, and when they're back at his flat, like that was kind of a cute moment. But then his voice.
I think the series is going to age better as time goes on, because the thing that's going to stunt if you rewatch Falcon and the Winter Soldier because of the storyline. I forgot my point of Falcon and Winter Soldier, because we kind of got onto the tangent of it. But the reason I believe I liked Falcon and Winter Soldier is because I was so honestly let down by WandaVision.
Yes, and like that. was just kind of like a mess to me. I know what they were going
There
for.
are also reshoots in that as well, but go ahead.
Really?
Well, I'll explain in a second.
Okay. I mean, I get what they were going for and everything else like that, but I just didn't like the format. I didn't like the format. And I felt it was very corny.
Right.
Which is fine. Comics are corny, 1000%. But I thought it was sitcom corny.
Well, it was... Okay.
Not comic book corny.
So the thing is yes, where there's like the I Love Lucy's or Bewitched, there's the... What was after? Was it like the Brady Bunch?
Malcolm in the Middle. No, Brady Bunch I don't think was a part of that.
It was like in the middle, though. There was like the 70s Brady Bunch when they introduced the African-American girl. That was like the 70s, and then they had the Malcolm in the Middle. The reason why there's like the Full House, Growing Pains.
Yeah.
That was all of a cluster. Either way, the reason why they did that is because Wanda found solace in those shows because that's what she spent with her family time, and that's why they made it so sitcom-y.
Yeah. Well, no, it was the shows that she watched when she was locked up as a young child, right? Wasn't it?
No, that's what her father sold DVDs.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And those were the shows that she kept watching. And so when she's distressed, or when we're distressed, and that's a major thing about COVID, is the reason why nostalgia kicked in so hard is because
people wanted to go back to a time that was better.
So that's why it was so important to go back to those shows. As corny as those are, because if we go back and watch Full House, I don't know if you ever did as a kid.
No, I actually didn't like it.
What was a sitcom that you did watch in the early 90s? Family
Basically,
Matters, Fresh Prince.
Yeah. No, well, Fresh Prince not so much, but it was like Family Matters.
World.
Yeah. Like every TGIF thing.
Sure. Okay. So let's just say Family Matters, right?
Sure.
So if you go back and watch
show.
Family Matters now,
Cosby Show.
yeah,
Sadly,
you'll probably you'll probably be like, oh god,
popsicles.
Jello pudding.
Yeah.
Anyways, if you go back and watch those, you'll probably have a similar feeling to what WandaVision had, where you're just like, it's corny funny, but it's But you'll have that embedded nostalgia. So when Urkel crashes through the garage and Carl Winslow says, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. What the hell is bothering me? And then he screams at Steve like, yeah! Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
There's going to be a nostalgic one to that. But I think with perspectives now, and I'm not trying to say to binge watch it, but if you rewatch Wanda and Falcon and the Winter Soldier again,
yeah, I'm sure they'll flip flop.
I think so too.
Yeah.
So before we get off topic and make this an hour-long video, the thing is Moon Knight...
No, I mean, I think it's good. Where are we at right now?
I have no idea.
I thought you were... No idea.
I feel like it's going long, personally.
Nah.
But the thing is there's a lot of work for Moon Knight to do to make this salvageable in our eyes. We're not the pinnacle of Marvel critics, but we are at least the average Joe who knows what we like about comic books.
Yeah.
And the thing is with what has been laid out, it is serviceable at best. So with that said, we're interested to see what's going to happen. We personally are way more excited about Multiverse of Madness than anything at this point. But like we said, Moon Knight has a lot of work to do. We'll see with other videos on Moon Knight.
I'm hoping it's better.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I like I said, I like Oscar Isaac. Everything I've seen him in, I liked him in, even the fucking horrible Star Wars sequels.
Right.
So, you know, I'm hoping that they do pick it up. I don't know where the fuck they can, but I mean...
Well, they're in Egypt, so we'll see.
Yeah, Cairo. So that's cool.
Indiana Jones was cool, and they were in Egypt.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, you know, Egypt's cool. Don't get me wrong.
No.
It's just kind of like just because it's flashy, it doesn't make it cool. But anyway.
But yes, so we'll be back with other parts of Moon Knight. If it's really rough, you probably only see one more video on it. If it gets actually mildly interesting, you'll see one after episode 4.
Yeah, I mean, we might not follow up this one, so.
Yeah.
But let us know, guys, if you like it. We'll of course do it. Well, I'll painfully watch it all. I'm going to watch it regardless. So.
Make sure you like, subscribe. You guys tell your friends. We're getting close to that 200 subscriber mark, and our eventual goal is hopefully getting to 1,000. So help us get there. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you soon.
Later.